Hey guys, Mars Russell here at Pro Play Games. Today I'm bringing you my second place preliminary deck profile where I use U6 Veggies with the Kaba and Vegeta expert deck leader. So the only loss I had this weekend was to Lord Machado, which ended up in third place because my boy Tommy had to give him the slap down and knocked him back down to third. So I snuck in there to get second place in the fourth round. So that was it was a really fun tournament. I got blurred out. Hold on. Focus. Alright, we're back. It was a really fun tournament. I got to see a lot of new set 7 decks that I never would have thought of. I saw someone playing ramp into Kaioken Goku with a Shenron leader. That was crazy. We saw some Kimijita leaders, stuff like that. Really cool set 7 stuff are coming out. It's a completely different meta. We're in the counterplay meta, so a lot of cards are interrupting your opponent's plays that they want to do, which is really interesting, and it's making the game more skillful, in my opinion. Really cool mechanics that we have to watch out for going forward. So today I'm going to talk about this list, which you can definitely see is very aggressive focused. That's my style. I like to go very aggressive, very fast. Generally this deck wins on turn 3 or 4 latest. I used to have the hit package, which flips your leader back on turn 4, but games usually never got that far with me, so I kind of just took it out, put it to the sideboard, see what I can do with it later. Maybe I have to play a more control version of the deck to get that far, but mostly didn't really need those cards, and it worked out better in the end, in my opinion. So this is the U6 Veggies. With Kale, Caulifla, and Kaba, but they're blue and yellow now. It's cool. You're going to see a lot of pressure coming from the Kefla promos. This card won me so many games against Akeem Vegeta. It just awakened me on turn 2 because I Sicily Bonds killed, top search for the Caulifla Troublemaker, tapped their energy. And took a life, so I took 3 life in one turn with my Kaba's leader effect, right? And the self ping from Caulifla, and Batara fusion on top of them with Kefla. Took all 4 awakened on tap 2. At that point, the Kefla was a 30k dual attack, 34k dual attack, and I did like 6-7 attacks in one turn. It was pretty strong, to say the least. But this deck can explode out of nowhere and take a lot of damage when your opponent didn't expect it whatsoever. So let's talk about the leader real quick. Whenever you play a U6 blue or yellow card, you can take a life and give it 5k pump. But the 5k pump is going to happen regardless. The taking of life is optional. So it's really good against, like, let's say mirror matches or something like that, where you kind of want to keep your high life total, but you want to be able to have a lot of power in the early game. So you can definitely manage that and get as much power boost as possible without awakening. But if you want to awaken, your opponent really can't stop you that easily, so that's another great aspect of it. The backside, a lot of effects. Untap 2 leader, one of the best for this archetype, being able to untap energy. Every energy matters. Every single energy counts. That's why Bean is in the deck, because it lets us extend the plays and makes our plays even more powerful at the same time. Very, very strong card. When this card attacks, draw a card. If you rest anything, energy or battle card, with a skill, you can draw a card once per turn, so it's both players' turns. Kind of like Pan, where if you rest something on your opponent's turn, it'll draw you a card, and rest something on your turn, it'll also draw you a card. The most interesting thing that happened at the event was when your opponent taps all their energy, or at any moment their energy is all tapped, your leader gets 5k power. This is also defensively and offensively. So if I tap them out on their turn while they're attacking mid-combo, I will get 5k pump for their whole turn. So a sense being plus that 25k for the whole turn, your opponent's just going to stop attacking at that point. And it's going to go into your turn, and they're still going to be tapped out. And your leader effect will still be 20k power when they swing. So pretty awesome. Great statted leader. So much card text on the back. Very powerful. Turn ones, we're definitely going to be trying to charge our dual color energy. We have about 14, 15 in our deck for that, I think. Hold on. I'd ask you to count 8, 10, 13, 14, 15. Yep, 15 dual color. You're going to mulligan for one, keep one in your hand, charge it as energy. It makes your life a lot easier. I would definitely try to add some counterplays in this deck in the future, moving forward. Counterplays are really cool, and it really messes up the mirror matches. Getting Sisublan killed, Denial of Hope was one of the worst feelings throughout that tournament. You just play nothing, and your opponent's just like, all right, it's my turn again. It's really sad, but you gotta play around it, and that's where the deck shines a lot. You have to threaten the effect of tapping energy, so your opponent forced to play their counterplay, so you can get your plays off without being impeded. So a lot of the times I will turn one Caulifla instead of dual color energy, just because I needed to pull off this play against going second against certain matchups, so I could threaten to evolve into Caulifla to tap their energy so they can't counterplay me in the next turn. And that was a really good bait for the most part, and I was able to hard cast my kills instead safely because I burned their energy already, which was really strong. Definitely the strongest turn 2 play is Kale. So if you get it off going first, you're sailing, because no one can interact with that until they have 2 energy to counterplay your Kales. So if you're going first, this deck is a breeze. Winning coin flips is insane. You really have an extremely high advantage and high win rate going first. When you lose, it's like an uphill battle, and you have to play it very, very smart to come back. Well, pretty much not really come back, but to make your opponent not stifle your plays too much. Turn 2 is Kale. Turn 3, you have 2 options. You either play defensively with your new Kaba Vegeta starter deck exclusive card to start playing more defensively, getting your energy open on your opponent's turn, and then being able to follow it up with a Kefla. Peak of Perfection is very powerful. Being able to tap energy on their turn is a big deal, especially if you can force them to tap out, give your leader 5K pump. Very powerful play. And also, if you have a dual color card in your energy, you can just arrival on your opponent's turn your Champavados, which is a very, very powerful play that I like to do pretty much every game. If I had 2 energy open, I would just I would Kefla into Champavados every time. Turn 3, you could either, like I said, you could either do that, play defensively, survive, Kefla, put into Champavados, and then next turn just dump your hand because everything's free in combos, which pretty much just equivalates to every time you combo, you create another attacker by comboing on top of it with your Kale or Cauliflas. Very powerful plays. On turn 3, it's also possible to just go all in if your opponent just got caught sleeping. You can just tap their energy out with Caulifla by taking a life, and that produces an evolved target. And if you're not awakened yet, it's just the easiest play ever, because you can give them power, then awaken, and then untap 2 energy, which is a little bit overtuned in my opinion. It could have been a draw 1, untap 1, a little bit more fair, but untap 2, every energy matters, so every energy can potentially produce Champavados or a 1-drop to evolve on top of, which will be 0 because Champavados is on the board. Very, very powerful, explosive plays that can happen. And if you ever go too far, you can always just Patara Fusion into your Kefla, and you have an extremely powerful Aegis effect for next turn, where your opponent pretty much is like in a checkmate situation. They either play all their stuff first or attack with their leader first, and then they get tapped out and they can't play anything, and they're not gonna have a fun time at all. It's just that it costs a lot to play this card. It costs like 4 cards out of your hands and like 2 cards on the board just to produce this Kefla, and keep using it every turn. It's a lot of upkeep, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's very, very useful, especially when it keeps the power from both halves of the fusion targets. Speaking of keeping power, our power boosting cards are Sensu Bean and Universe Spotamo. I showed this to our patrons early, the Batamo Spice. Calling out now. It's gonna be very, very cool to have. Universitas Batamo, not searchable out of anything except for Planet Sadala. That is the one thing that can search it. I did play that in the sideboard, just in case I needed to search this card, but it was just an actual added oomph to the deck, pretty much. It gives 5k pump to everything that's U6, as long as it's comboed. So it's a 1+5k. It's not reduced by 1 with the Chambavados, unfortunately, but it's still worth it playing. What I did a lot of the times was combo everything that I was going to combo with, all my arrivals. So if I arrival with Kefla or Champa, put them all out, and then my last card before I finish comboing, I combo my Batamo. Everything gets 5k pump. It's scary. If you don't have Nimbus, you're gonna lose a lot of cards out of your hand, or Beans. You're gonna lose a lot of cards out of your hand surviving that turn. That's using my kill turn in my final combo before going for game. So that's why it's only at a 2 of. It's like a once per game situation, and it costs energy, so you might not be able to pull it off every time. And it's not too searchable either, so it's whatever. But it's pretty cool. I like this little spicy tech there. Obvious super combo. Look at it. Searchable. It was pretty cool. One game I Vegeta Kaba'd and then defensively pitched a dual color card, pitched a card, and then summoned a Kaba. Top 7 search, picked 2 cards that were both super combos, added them to my hand, pitch a card for Kaba's effect. Was able to survive whatever attack was happening at the time. It was really cool. And I comboed off Kaba himself as a 5k pump for free. It was really plus. That was a really cool play that was available with Vegeta Kaba and Kaba. Kaba is just your consistency booster. He just top 7 searches for whatever you need, whatever you're missing in your hand at the time. It'll fix it very, very easily. So one of the MVP cards. The only bad thing is that you can't evolve on top of them. I wish they had a Kaba 1 cost evolve SR. I would love to see that happen, where he goes Super Saiyan or something. But yeah, I don't have a sideboard here. This is the YouTube version. On our Patreon, you guys can check it out. It'll be more in depth. But after that, I will be seeing you guys at the next Orlando DBS regional. I won't be able to make it to the Philadelphia one. You can see here, my hand. But you guys pre-register now before it's too late. It's gonna be very shortly. One of the Pro Play Tour stops in Philadelphia. But I will be in DBS Orlando September 7th, 8th. So see you guys there. If you're wanting to see some more competitive content and competitive version of this profile, head to our Patreon. And other than that, I'll see you guys there. Peace.